Samaya, my love. Samaya, my love. Okay, Samaya's joining us. I go hard in the mother paint. Leave you stinking. What you thinking? Brick squad. Rock a fuck flame one. Oh, somebody like my live. Hello. I don't see anybody in here though. Hi, Kaya. Oh, thanks. How are you? Say cheese, mama. Cheese, good job. Good job, mama. Hello, everybody coming in. I'm so excited for day one of the Fully Seen tour. I'm really excited to answer any questions, to just have fun, to have fun. Dance, 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 dance. Her song is that Elmo song. Happy, happy, dance, dance. Thanks, Charlotte. Happy, happy, dance, dance. When you learn something new, you do the happy dance, dance. Come on, let's see your happy dance. You don't want to do your happy dance? Okay. So yeah, today I don't really have an agenda. I literally came on here to just talk, answer questions. Hopefully there's lots of them. I have an hour set aside for this. And maybe dance. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna dance. I mean, I might. It depends. It depends on how excited I get and how much energy is in my body. And if there's a lot of energy in my body, I tend to get up and just move it. Yes, we tend to move it and dance and dance and dance. She did not too long ago. But she just in a mood right now. She wants to be held by mommy. She does not want to get down. Girl, you just hit me. Don't do that. Are you kidding me? You're gonna get down. Uh-oh. I got your diaper all out. I'm sorry, girl. You want to get down now? Can mommy just do what she has to do? And I'll talk to you later. Okay? Bye-bye. See you later. Let's see, y'all. Let's see. Bye-bye. Never mind. Okay, relax. I am loving Malaysia. It is so chill over here. I mean, yeah, the vibe is just super chill, relaxed. There's just no sense of urgency for real. And I feel like, hi, K Rock. Yeah, there's like no sense of urgency. And I feel like coming from the States, especially my boyfriend, like he is always like wanting to go, 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 go. And they're like relax. Like when we first got here, our Grab driver, they have Grabs, not Ubers, but the Grab driver, he's like, relax, chill. Because my boyfriend, he was trying to like rush. We were at the airport trying to pack the car. And he's like, relax, chill, it's okay. So yeah. That's the one thing getting used to. And then also just like how people move. Like people are just they take their time. I feel like in the US, service looks like right away. I'm here. Don't you see me? Come service me. Here it's like, I'll get to you when I get to you. But that's just the culture. It's not at first I was like, oh, they have bad customer service out here. This is terrible. But it's just the culture. They're just super laid back, chill. And right now we're closer to the main city. We're going to more of a local city in a few days. And when I was asking people about it, they're like, "Oh, that's really local Malaysia. Like you're gonna experience like local Malaysia culture," and it's like it's more of like a beach city. So I know the vibe is gonna be even more laid back, even slower. So that's getting some used to. My nervous system is getting used to not always being in this like sense of go 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 go. But just like it's okay to relax. It's okay to just chill and be, which works so much with what I'm doing. Hey, what is she been making this face lately? It kills me. Cause girl, what is wrong with you? Why are you making that face? Did I do anything to you? Hi, Kay. I want to retire in somewhere in Southeast Asia. I think it's a great. Oh, yes, yes. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm excited to continue to explore and see what else is out there. Because we're starting in Malaysia, then we're going to Thailand in October. We're thinking that's what we want to make our like longer stay, our more permanent stay. Because at first we were like, oh, we're going to travel Southeast Asia for a while and just like go from suitcase to all these countries. And I'm like, we need a more permanent residence, and then we could travel from there. So we're looking into visas in Thailand, so that can be like our permanent, like longer stay, and then we're not taking our whole life with us every single time we go to a new country. Especially with her, that plane ride was terrible. It was terrible. The longest plane ride, because we went from Denver to Seattle. That one was okay. Okay, I was preparing myself. I was so excited. I think the excitement. Samaya, I know you ain't digging in your nose right now. Don't ever do that. No, I'm just kidding. Samaya, don't dig in your nose. And you don't look at me like that. This is how she's looking at. I'm telling y'all, the attitude is crazy, and she don't get it from me. She don't get it from me. The attitude is crazy. Okay. But no, the flight from Denver to Seattle wasn't bad. It was like a 3-hour flight, almost 4-hour flight. And then the flight from Seattle to Taipei, what is it? Taipei. That was not bad. It was overnight. It was like 12 hours. She slept for most of it. We all slept. And then I think she was up for like the last 2 hours. But at that point, I was fine because she slept. When she first wakes up from her nap or like from bed, she's in a good mood. That flight from Taipei to Malaysia, it was terrible because we were in the middle too. So for the first 2 flights, we were like on the window seat. So it was much easier for me to deal with her. This flight, we were in the middle. So we didn't have a window seat. And she kept hitting the person next to me. And you could tell he was not a kid person. You know how, some people, they'd be like, oh, it's okay. No, he was doing, like, he was literally doing this because he did not want her to touch him. So it was a lot. It was a lot. Samaya, okay, if you want to sit up here with an attitude, you're going to get down. Because nobody did nothing to you. Okay? How you want to be mean to me when you want me to hold you? I'm telling y'all, this attitude. Yes, Kay. Yes. I am too. I'm glad we made it safely. Because I don't know why I was getting so much anxiety on the flight. I'm like, oh my God, what if we die? I was like, why are you afraid? Like, who's gonna die? I really went into the self-inquiry while I was on the flight. Who's gonna die? Who's afraid of death? Because it was showing its head. It was really ringing. So that was really nice to like go into it in real time and to just still see, oh, there's something gripping, there's something holding, which that continues to show. Like it's gonna continue to show its head forever and ever. But to have these tools. Are you sleepy? Are you sleepy? Ooh, the back of her hair look crazy, y'all. Okay, girl. Look, it's giving it's very matted. Samaya, I don't know why you keep looking at me like this. But yeah, this is day 1 of the Fully Seen tour. Fully Seen tour, which I feel like this course is a CD. It's just a body of work that was created from working with so many women over the past year in one-on-one mentorship and group mentorship, and figuring out that the most common theme that I was coming across is this fear of being seen, this fear of being witnessed in your messiness, this fear of being judged, this fear of not being perfect and projecting other people aren't caring and all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is like the foundation of allowing yourself to like do whatever it is that you want in your life, is getting comfortable with being witnessed and seen in your fullness, in your messiness, in your rawness. And if there's no level of comfort in that, it's going to be hard to stay consistent, because you could like psych yourself up and be like, okay, I'm ready, and feel all motivational, and then, you know, put yourself out there. And people do this all the time, and then they disappear. They disappear for a really, like, they'll disappear for months because they didn't really address the rooted fear, which is of being seen, and not even being seen by other people, but being seen by themselves. Because it's not even about other people. It's really about like the fear of not being able to see ourselves, to be able to meet ourselves in our messiness, and like say that that's okay and that's enough. I am enough as I am, as I am. I think once you tap into that, what's the matter, my lovey? Once you tap into that, everything else becomes much easier. So that's what this was born from. And I really tapped into the nervous system, because the nervous system is 100% what's responsible for everybody's fears, and what's blocking them from the things that they want in their lives. Okay, baby, you're just tired. My baby, so sleepy. You should not be sleepy, actually. What time does she wake up? What time is she, like 7:30, 8? Maybe she is ready to go down for a nap. She usually goes down for a nap like 3 hours after she wakes up. And she keeps yawning, so I feel like you're tired. Yeah, baby. We are all worthy because we are here. Exactly. So just about being able to teach our body how to feel that again, because if you never learned how to regulate yourself when there was high stress levels, then even if you're telling yourself you're worthy, the body does not associate with what you're calling in as safe. Hey, oh my God. You're not gonna let me do this. Okay, I gotta nurse her. Let me put this up. I am trying to wean this girl, okay? I really am. But here we go. Real live, raw in the flesh. This is a lot of the reason why I don't like going live. I should have waited till she went to sleep, but I know that it's because it's early here. Right now it is 10 o'clock Sunday. And I know for a lot of you, it is Saturday night. So that's why I'm like, okay, I need to figure out the best time to go live for my people in the US, without, because it's going to be the time difference. It's crazy. It's a huge time difference. You're right. Escape my hostile environment. Oh, nice. I'm happy to hear that, Cosmic. Almost midnight here. Yeah. See, so that's why I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess I could go live earlier, which was my plan. But then I had a call. I had a client call, but then that ended up getting rescheduled. So I'm like, okay, well, that's just the goal. I'm gonna have to start just going live earlier. Um, or if I go later, then it's gonna be morning for people in the US. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Because I definitely want to go live much more often. It's just the time zone difference. And then trying to adjust my schedule with my daughters. But that's what I was talking about. How mom first, pre second, you're doing the real work by meeting her needs, and we admire you. I breastfed mine till she was 3. Oh, that's great. That is so great. I really wanna wean. I want to wean. I'm tired. And now she's doing this thing called twiddling. I looked it up. If you look it up, I won't explain what it is, but I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, and I really want to wean, but then I also don't want to wean because it's just such a beautiful bonding experience. Until she was 3 as well. Oh my God. How did y'all survive? How did y'all survive? Oh my God. And then I thought like when they got older and they started eating more solids, that they would want to nurse less. And my daughter, her bottom, she's every time she starts teething, she wants to nurse more and more and more and more. So, anyways, what was I saying? Oh, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about how even if you're telling yourself you're worthy, if your body doesn't associate the things that you want with safety, it doesn't matter how much you are claiming worthiness, your nervous system is going to filter out exactly what you want in your life. So, breast milk is a perfect protein shake. No, it really is, but I'm tired. My body is tired. um, Peace and blessings. Yes, yes. Hi, Melissa. So yeah, it doesn't matter how much how worthy you feel. If your body is not on board, then your nervous system is going to filter it out. Because I always talk about how like everything is here now, and that's just facts. Everything, there is no um like what we perceive as separate objects and space and time and all those things. It's just the nervous system filtering reality to best support the like illusion of the separate self. Okay, so how else can I say that? What we see as our reality is, imagine everything is clay and it's just a molding. Like, is that a great example? I'm trying to figure out the best example. Or like the ocean and the wave. I think that's a great example. So like everything is the ocean, but then our nervous system makes everything into waves, like different waves, but it's all the ocean, right? Just because a wave shows up and you have all these different variations of waves, it's still the ocean at the end of the day. It's made out of the same substance as the ocean, and then it goes back into the ocean, right? It's always the ocean, even though it's showing in the form of a wave. That is our reality. Our reality is waves, but it's just one thing. But our nervous system makes it waves to make sense to being in separate identity, right? If I am Taylor and I am in this body, then I am separate from the rest of like, I'm taking myself to be this separate individual. My nervous system filters reality to like maintain that narrative of this separation of I am here and you are over there. Get off of my video right now. Get off of my video. Don't play with me. Um, Yeah, so that's what happens. The nervous system is just constantly like filtering it out, because imagine if we didn't have this differentiation. That's not the word I'm looking for. Imagine if we weren't able to perceive reality in components. It would all just look like one. Actually, I have paper. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye. Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is reality. Boom. I love the paper example because it helps me illustrate what I'm saying. So this is reality right now. It's just like one thing. What our nervous system does, but it's not actually what's happening, but what our nervous system does is it begins to filter reality as if it's in components. So like this is tree. This is tree. This is sun. This is a person. This is car. This is house, right? I probably shouldn't have ripped it up, but it's filtering it out as if that's what's happening, but it's still the same sheet. That's just the way that the nervous system is filtering it out so that we can see the difference in the one thing. To play like consciousness, I always say consciousness likes to explore itself, and consciousness is like playing with itself, understanding itself by not knowing itself, right? The only way to know who you are is to like know what you're not. So the separate identity was born so to like know itself. Neville has this saying, God became man so that man may become God. So like God forgot itself, came down into form so that it could awaken and remember the truth of who God is. I always like to say like being lucid in the dream. This is how you become lucid in the dream. Is you have to forget yourself so that you could like take yourself to be a body separate from the rest of your environment, to then wake up and remember that like, oh, I'm not separate from my environment, and I can still believe myself to be this separate individual while knowing the truth of who I am. But the cost of being a separate individual is not being completely, like, being able to see it. So many times people want to, so many times people are like, they want to have a spiritual awakening, or they want to, like, for a long time, what I was doing, escape the body, escape this realm, escape earth, escape this, escape that. When you do that, what you do is you end the identity of being a separate self. Like that completely goes away. So there's no more world. So you don't want that, because that's death. Like, it's psychological death. Psychological death is the same as physical death. It's not separate. So when people want a spiritual awakening, what they're really saying is they want to die. What I'm suggesting is you don't want to die. You just want to become lucid. And really what people are really wanting is they just want pleasure without an ounce of pain. And that also doesn't exist. It can't exist. Pleasure without an ounce of pain is death. As long as you are taking yourself to be a separate individual, you're always going to experience polarity. You're always going to experience an opposite, because you have to, in order to be a separate individual, you have to forget your divinity. So you have to be what you're not in order to know what you are. So there's always going to be a level of polarity. So is it like it's breaking down for us to be able to consume our reality? Yes. It's just making it more manageable. Are we always going to be human? I don't know. Like, who knows? Are we human now? This is one narrative out of, like, we are in an infinite reality. You are not human. You are awareness, perceiving yourself to be human, telling yourself this story of being a human. That's not even actually what's happening. But it's a really good story. And it feels real, doesn't it? You feel like you're in your body right now. You feel like you're looking at me. It doesn't feel like you're in a dream right now. It feels very real. But when you dream at night, it feels real too. So yeah, what our nervous system does is it puts reality into components so that the separate self can have an experience, to forget itself and, like, explore itself in all these different components. But the way that the nervous system is programmed, and this just goes back to being fully seen, because the way the nervous system, the way the nervous system is patterned, that's a better way than saying program. But I always say nervous system and the subconscious are the same thing. When you think about it, like, our nervous system is responsible for all of our, like, atomic bodily responses. So, like, digesting our food, beating our heart, breathing, growing our hair, like, that's all the nervous system, right? And that's all the subconscious mind. Like, the subconscious is responsible for all these things that we are doing as the all, but we just don't know how we're doing it, but we're doing it, right? You are growing your hair. You are the one that's doing these things, but you just don't know how you're doing it, because, like, when we think about that iceberg picture, you are aware of so little. You are aware of, like, so little of what you're doing. Oh my God, it's really interesting. But so yeah, the way that the nervous system is patterned is, so we come in being awareness, right? Just being the observer, this state that everybody tries to go back to in the form of objects, people, and circumstances, right? If if I get this thing, I'll be able to go back to the state of remembrance, the state of love, the state of wholeness. They wouldn't say it like that. They would say, I want this thing because whatever, right? Well, whatever reason they have for wanting the thing. But what it comes down to essentially is, I want this thing because I want to go back to the state of wholeness, of love, of remembrance. So, but we come in already in that state. But then what happens is that we start to navigate and explore, like, we start to feel textures. We start to notice, like, the colors. We don't have language for it yet, but the society begins to teach us that, like, this is a box, and this is, I just got a new mic because my mic was sounding terrible, y'all. But I just got a new mic. But, like, this is a box, and this is blue, and this is white, right? When we are babies, we don't perceive reality in these, like, labels and in these components. But the more, like, repetition, that is how the nervous system is patterned. That is how the subconscious is programmed, through repetition. So the more we learn, like, this is this, then all of a sudden we begin to place reality into boxes and into components. And then what happens in the nervous system is that it, like, every single time we interact with, let's say, heat, like, there's a spike in the nervous system, that every time we touch it, it just starts to record it at like, oh, this is heat, so that it doesn't keep going down and losing the energy. I'm not explaining that 100% correctly, and I'm not explaining that in its most simple form, but uh, our nervous system gets patterned based on how we are responding and reacting to our environment. Okay, so that's just on the most basic level. But when it comes to the things that you desire in this world, the way that you want, reality to reflect back to you, if you did not receive, let's just go to the worth thing. Let's get out of the science of it for a bit, and let's just go like to very real examples of feeling worthy of the things that you are calling for. Hi, Miss Pink. Feeling worthy of the things that you are calling for. If you did not receive comfort, or you did not receive, I guess comfort is the word I'm looking for. Is that the word I'm looking for? Sure, let's go with comfort. I feel like that's not the word I'm looking for. When you were experiencing like emotional outbursts, when you were experiencing anxiety, when you were experiencing sadness, right? If you did not get met with this level of like space and comfort, I don't know the word I'm looking for. What is that word when a caregiver is comforting? That's not the word. Whatever. Then all of a sudden your nervous system, compassion, yeah, let's go with, I feel like that's still not the word, but okay, compassion, nurture, yes, that's the word I'm looking for, nurturing, right? If you were not nurtured, right, if you were not consoling, yes, if you were not met in this way, then all of a sudden your nervous system learns that, because then what happens is your body will either shut down, or it will run away, or it will just depending on how you were taught to respond to these certain triggers, your body registers that as your new baseline. So I'll give another example of this. So before I did the cry it out method with my daughter, because we were not getting sleep, and I was just like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. But then I saw all of this information online about like how to cry it out is not good for babies, because it says that babies don't know how to regulate themselves, right? Babies, like when we come in the world, we literally rely on our caregivers to co-regulate us. Our bodies, our nervous system is not fully matured or developed yet, so we don't know how to like calm ourselves and soothe ourselves. We rely on our environment, our caregivers, and that's why they even had experiments where, like they had babies in an orphanage, and in one group they had. Uh, like the caregivers holding the kids, talking to them, rocking to them, singing them. And they had another group of kids where nobody touched the kids at all. And who do you think did much better in terms of development? And I think, I could be wrong, I think some of the kids like got really sick, or they ended up like passing them. Maybe they didn't pass away, but what it showed is that we literally, especially as babies, we need other humans to co-regulate to make sure that we have a healthy development. So anyways, I saw that and I said, but I'm tired. Like, I'm not getting sleep. She's nursing all night. I'm up all night. I need sleep. Like, my rest is just as important as hers, which that's why this is very nuanced. But what it was saying is, because she would cry and cry and like do the cry it out, and then she would stop. So then I was like, oh, she's teaching herself how to like, she's teaching herself how to go to sleep, right? She's learning the skills of regulation when she wasn't. Her nervous system was just learning that if I cry out, eventually, like when this is done enough times, nobody is coming. So then you learn to thank you, Kay. See you later. Love you too, Kay. So the nervous system learns that nobody is coming, so then it shuts down. So then now she's a baby. And of course, if this is done enough time over years, right? There's no shame or condemnation to myself or to any other parents that do this, especially because we used to do this in like, we were always raising kids in communities. So I feel like now, because we are more in this in individualization society, it makes so much sense why women are going for these like cry it out methods, or weaning, or putting their kids in daycare. Well, we did not used to do that because we raised our kids in community. So it wasn't just the mother that was taking care of the baby at night, or the parents taking care of the baby at night. It was a whole community. But When I understood what I was doing to her nervous system, I stopped that. Okay. Because I'm like, okay, she's still young and I can still, I don't want her to grow up, because it really does form our attachment styles as well. Right. So every time she was spiking in that way, she's crying out for help. She's seeing my needs are not being met. Her response is to shut down. And then that becomes the response of the fully adult human. If that's done long enough, right? If we didn't grow up with parents who knew how to attend to our needs, right? We're crying out for help. We are in, some sort of pain. We are feeling discomfort, and our parents never taught us how to deal with our emotions. We will revert to, well, how do our caregivers deal with their emotions? How do our caregivers handle our emotions? Then our nervous system records that so it doesn't keep going down, because at first it was like at this baseline, but then once our emotions spiked, right, our stressors spiked, and then our needs weren't met, then all of a sudden that now, and that's another thing, that now becomes the baseline. So if you are in chronic stress and your needs, and you don't know how to deal with that, that becomes your baseline, because it's so much more energy to go back down, and then you keep coming back up. So it's like, if you keep getting in stress, your body's like, how do we conserve the energy of your life force? We're just going to make this your baseline so that you don't keep going down and up. This is your new baseline, this level of stress. And in this level of stress, you have a pattern of responding to it, which is the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I know that desire is really just a chase for wholeness, but what do you do with the desire? I have the desire to be socially authentic and it feels like my purpose, but I don't know if it's just a cover up. I think desires, I don't, all desire is a search, I don't think all desires are a chase for wholeness. I think some desires are the expression of wholeness. And you can know that based on, if you are like, I always say, like, ask yourself, why do you want this desire? Like, what is it about? So don't ignore the desire. Just allow it to come out from the form of expression. And it's always going to be like, because I used to think the same thing, especially coming from, like Buddhist teachings, that all desire is suffering. And the reason why that's said is because suffering comes from believing ourselves to be a separate individual. So all desire is going to be perceived as suffering because we're taking ourselves to be a separate individual. But when you can see through the illusion of being a separate individual, then now desire is simply the expression of being a separate individual. The same thing is happening. You don't have to like let the desire go. You just have to see it for what it is. You just simply see that I am not the self. I am not this separate individual. I am the awareness in which this desire is arising in. And then it's going to fulfill itself. Like life is moving through us. We think that we're the ones doing things. My would have changed when we realized that life is doing us, that the life force energy is moving through us. But you still play in the illusion of being the doer. You still play in the illusion of, like healing yourself. And even that, I've even got out of that. I don't know if you guys saw my post the other day where I came across this thought of, and I like to tell my clients this, and I've said this in videos, right? I'm like, everything is a feedback loop, right? And if you can just look at things from this very unbiased lens, you'll see that your responses and your reactions are telling you where you are in a relationship to your desire. So like, if you say that you are, somebody who's wealthy, but then a bill comes and then you respond in this like, oh my God, this bill, then that's showing you that you are not in the state of wealth, right? I used to say that all the time. And the other day I realized how that can be harmful. I get where I was when I was saying that, but then I realized that that's just not even the truth. That's still another story. And I'm in this stage of my life right now where I'm freeing myself from all stories, because the story is what's keeping it alive. Even if the story is one of like healing the self and like making the self whole and giving the self its desires, it's still a story. So as soon as I saw that, I said, oh, this whole idea that if I'm responding or reacting to my reality in this way, that means I'm not in the state of my desire. What if I just saw that as a story? Then it just comes in and out of my awareness, and it's no longer a problem. The way that I respond or react is no longer a problem. So there's no need to fix myself. So because I'm not trying to fix myself, that means that I'm not broken. And from the standpoint of not being broken, I can operate in my wholeness. And now the actions and the thoughts that arise from that place are going to be much more in alignment with what I want. It's really about surrendering. Like, can I just simply surrender and not need if I and not try to fix myself anymore? And from the outside looking in, what that's going to look like is the actions of like doing the nervous system work that I do, right? The beyond self ritual, reading the books that I'm reading, going into self inquiry, practicing mindfulness, right? It looks as if I'm doing all these things when really life is just moving through me, and that's just the way that it presents itself. But I get out of the drama of like I'm doing these things in order to heal myself or in order to become something. This is just the way that life is moving, and that's cool. Like it doesn't mean anything. Can I take the meaning out of it all? And for meaning making creatures like ourselves, that can feel scary to take the meaning out of it. What do you mean, right? Look, like what do you mean, right? We're meaning making. That is what it means to have a conditioned mind. We're always trying to figure out the purpose of something. So to now go from this constantly looking for purpose, trying to find our meaning, to accepting that we are perfect as we are now, that can feel very scary, especially to the nervous system. So that's why the nervous system practices are important, to just continue to teach yourself to soften and to surrender. And then meaning becomes the everything. Your purpose becomes the everything. So I can allow myself to feel this disappointment rather than to prevent myself to feel the disappointment. Yes, feel the disappointment. I would say like dance with the disappointment. I literally felt my desire and tears came. It was like I saw the future in the now. If that makes sense. No, that makes total sense, Miss Pink. That makes total sense. Because you're feeling as if you already have it. You're not needing it to produce that feeling in you. It's just you see that the not having it is something that you're projecting in the future, which really keeps it at a distance from you. But when you can feel as if you have it now, and you can celebrate as if you have it now, then your nervous system, it stops filtering it out because you feel as if you have it. So now you're a vibrational match for it. So then it appears in your awareness. But I would say absolutely feel the disappointment. And that's so much of what it means to be seen, is learning how to feel the discomfort, feel the disappointment, feel the emotions that you were probably not taught how to feel. You saw people around you avoid, numb, distract when these emotions were present. Or you never saw them deal with these emotions in a healthy way, right? Maybe you never saw your caregivers cry, but like not make it. Like for me, I love my mom, but like she was very dramatic. I'm very dramatic. I'm my mom in so many ways, but she was very dramatic. So I got to a point when I got really older, I became very nonchalant because I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I am not going to handle my emotions in that way. But I didn't know how to deal with it. So I thought that when sadness came or when frustration came, it was either blow up, like you blow up and everybody got to feel it, which I was like, I would never want to do that to somebody else because why is she acting like this? So I just like shut them down. And I was like, I'm just not going to feel this and I'm just not going to address it. I didn't see her deal with that stuff in a healthy way. I didn't see most people around me deal with it in a healthy way. Like the only emotion that I really saw presented was, joy or anger and frustration. And the way that anger and frustration was dealt with was like putting that energy out to other people, like really having other people feel that. And I was like, I didn't resonate with that, and I didn't like that. But I mean, we become our environment, and our nervous system is just mimicking, right? We have these mirror neurons, so that's why when you smile at babies, when you do something at babies, they do it back. And then when they are mirroring their environment, there's neurons literally in the brain that the neurons that light up when you are seeing something, and the neurons that light up when you are doing the same exact action, those light up at the same time. So these mirror neurons are responsible for us constantly mimicking the environment. So that's why we are so much like the people that we say we don't like, or we don't want to be like. It's not even on purpose. It's just because of how our brain gets programmed, the coding that we received, these mirror neurons. So, oh, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you too. I'm grateful for you too. I'm glad you say that, because sometimes I feel like I am confusing myself when I talk. I mean, not confusing myself, but like how can I break this down even more? How can I make this even more simplistic, even more understandable, even more digestible? So you can like apply this in real time and not just hear it and be like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, but then going back to being like super attached to the separate identity, super attached to the coding that you receive, that you're not allowed to like tap in to your infinite nature and become lucid in the dream, become lucid in this realm. And then explore your own consciousness, which would look like fulfilling your desires, which is why I take the tantric approach, right? Being no thing and being everything at the same time, not trying to escape the separate self, but just seeing through it and still choosing to play in the realm of separation, but knowing the cost of that. The cost of me choosing to play in the realm of separation is the fact that I am going to experience an immense amount of discomfort. And can I get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable? That's the whole point. It's like understanding that you are not the separate self, but in order to play in this dream realm, in order to be a like creator and manifest, take the unseen and bring it into the scene. In order to do that, you're gonna have to forget who you are. And forgetting who you are, you're gonna have to experience duality. You're gonna have to experience the full spectrum of emotion. You don't get to just chase pleasure. that is why you'll suffer, by chasing pleasure and trying to pretend that the other side of the spectrum is not just as pleasurable to the truth of who you are. When you start to see pleasure in all of it, then you can become a lucid creator, a lucid dreamer. Most people can't be lucid dreamers because they keep shaming and dimming the discomfort. But it's not them doing it purposefully. It's just that they did not learn how to deal with it. Like they literally, their body literally does not know how to deal with the discomfort. The body, it gets triggered with the discomfort, and then it goes into a very familiar response. And that familiar response is usually fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So even though they want to change, the body is going to always win. Like I always say, the body is going to win. When you're tired, what do? You go to sleep. When you're sad, you cry. When you have a headache, you'll go lay down. The body knows how to take care of itself. It's always just the mind that's saying this should not be, this shouldn't happen, this, and then it prolongs it, or it pushes it into the unconscious. And when you push it into the unconscious, it's still going to manifest. Everything in the unconscious is what you see now. It's going to manifest. It's just going to manifest in ways that don't serve you. But when you can keep this discomfort in your awareness, and you're not shoving it away, then now all of a sudden you can direct how you're going to move this energy. You can direct the frustration. You can direct the insecurity. You can direct the feeling of unworthiness, rejection. Well, whatever it is, these emotions that you are avoiding, you're just pushing them into the unconscious, and they're still manifesting in the form of, oh, I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to deal with rejection. I don't even want to look at it. Okay. It goes into the unconscious, and then it manifests in the form of you going out for something, and now you're being rejected. You wanting something so bad. You're doing all the work. You're visualizing, you're scripting, you're saying affirmations, and you still get rejected. And you go, I don't understand why. Because you refuse to look at the feeling of rejection. And because you refuse to look at it, it's manifesting. And you can say all the affirmations in the world. If your body, if you are still pushing that feeling away, your body is going to win. It's going to still bring that emotion of rejection to the surface so that it can be, because the body is so wise, it knows how to move it out. But because you won't allow the natural energy to just move through you and you're suppressing it, it just keeps coming up. And I like to think that it's like calling our attention. It's like very clever. When I was trying hard to find my purpose, I was unsure, uncertain, but when I focused on it, it came to me. But I don't believe it's my only purpose. Yeah, for sure. When I was trying hard. Yeah, yeah, it's that settling. You surrendered, you let go. And with that let go, with that letting go, and really what I think about finding purpose is just like following your joy, following, what feels good. I realized that I identify with a purpose because I thought that told me who I am. I am simply being. Yeah, that's it. But that's why humans. Oh, sorry. That's why humans really look for purpose and meaning, because there's this insecurity that we're going to die and that we are not as big as we are taking ourselves to be. That's the egoic insecurity, because the ego knows that it's like not the truth. Like it knows it has a limit, which is why it keeps us in time. It keeps us thinking about a past. It keeps us thinking about a future so that it can exist. The ego only exists in time. So purpose is time. Meaning deals in time. Our being is beyond all of that, because there's so much contentment and fulfillment in the now. It doesn't need to branch out in order to be itself. It is already itself. It doesn't need to go on a journey in order to become anything, because it is already everything. Like it doesn't need to move from here to be itself. So the ego is doing that because it wants to keep itself alive. But once you can realize, oh, that's what this is doing, then you can just like whatever, and not even like try to stop it either. It's like, oh, I see what's happening. Okay, like yeah, do your thing. But it's no longer of like a big deal anymore, and then it just works itself out. Like I said, the body is so wise. It's so wise. If we get a cut, I had cut my hand the other day, or a few months ago, I had cut my wrist. It's healed. Like you really couldn't even tell. I was like cleaning out the top shelf, and some glass fell, and it cut my. I had to go get stitches. It cut my wrist really bad, like open, and then I cut my stomach too. The body knows how to heal itself. The body knows how to move the discomfort through you. We are the ones that saying this shouldn't be here. So then we're creating that resistance in that block, which is only keeping it alive. You shouldn't be here. Go away. And then it says it goes away. I mean, it doesn't go away. It seemingly goes away, and then it comes up louder. So it manifests as circumstances and situations that you go, I can't believe this is happening to me. And it's like, I can, because you don't want to look at it. Another example would be if I suppress fear of being misunderstood, it could show up as me not being able to be myself around others, aka forcing me to be understood and unseen. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, yes. That is a great example. So it's like when you could just meet that feeling of being misunderstood, like what does it feel like to be misunderstood? And can you sit with that? Can you really sit with the usually what it looks like is like the heart racing really fast, your cheeks getting flustered, right? Maybe your face warms up. Maybe it feels like heaviness. Maybe it feels like staticky. Like you know how or you'll learn when you practice this enough how your body responds to feeling misunderstood. And when you can just start to learn how to sit with that, then you no longer suppress it when it arises. You could just allow it to move through you without needing to run, distract yourself. Oh, this feeling is showing up. Let me go. And this is human too. Like there's no shame or condemnation around your triggers. Just don't make it a big deal. Like when you are avoiding it, resisting it, whatever, just don't like, I need to heal myself and fix this. Just notice like the ways that you are doing it. And then you just like keep doing this practice. It will work itself out. I think that's the biggest like thing that I understood is like, I don't have to heal myself. I don't have to fix myself. There is a intelligence that is much more like that is me, right? It's not separate from us. But like me, the separate identity, I'm the one trying to like fix all of these things. I don't have to do that. I don't even know how to do that. I pretend like I know how to do these things, but really what I'm doing is running from the feelings that I don't want to face. So then I'm just like shoving it down when really I could just surrender to it, which means allow it to be. And then there's a intelligence that knows how to heal the same way it knows how to heal when I get cut. It heals the psychological pain as well. But because the separate self is so entangled with the psychological pain, it feels like its job is to heal that. That is not its job. That is a part of the suffering. I feel like an outsider or weird. That's yes. Feel into that though. Feel into feeling like an what does it feel like to feel like an outsider or weird? And can you get excited about that? Because really, like, is there a fear around being an outsider or weird? And what where is that fear present in the body? And how often when that fear shows up, do you just allow yourself to sit with it? And do you allow that to just move through you? Surrender that to something much greater than you that knows how to just like sensation gone. So that's what it really comes down to, like this fear of being seen is this fear of not being able to see ourselves in the discomfort. Yeah, we definitely have controlling issues, but that's the ego. The ego is controlling. It is all about building, fixing, analyzing, meaning making. It is all about control. But when we are taking ourselves to be only that, then we run into a control issue instead of using it to control the lucid dream, like controlling what's in our control, right? It's this prayer, uh, God grant me the serenity. It's the I think it's called the serenity prayer, right? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can. Wait, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things that I can, and the courage to know the difference, or in the wisdom to know the difference. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is a beautiful prayer. I remembered it one more time. I'm going to look at your comment. I'm just trying to remember this prayer because this is a beautiful prayer. Okay, this is the words. I finally got it. I haven't said it in so long. But God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know the difference. Okay, because the things that you can change is your perspective. The things that you can change is the way that you are looking at it. What you cannot change is what's appearing. And the way that I know this is that if I were to tell you right now to stop thinking, just stop thinking for 5 minutes. Don't think a single thought. You would not be able to do it. Even if you're an advanced meditator, even in this, especially in this society, unless you've been in the Himalaya caves somewhere, you are not going to be able to stop your thoughts for 5 minutes. Thoughts are just coming to you. That lets you know that you are not the thoughts. You are aware of the thoughts. You don't control them. And because you don't control them, you're not control, like thoughts and what's appearing are very interconnected. You cannot look at an object without thinking about what that object is. Try it. The only reason why that object appears is because you're thinking about it and you can't stop thoughts. So they are very interconnected. So you can't change that. But what you can change is your perspective. We have this wheel of being able to change the way that we are looking at it. And when we change the way we look at it, what we look at changes. So stop trying to change the picture and just change, or stop trying to change the image in a mirror and just change the image. And the way you change the image is just by changing the perspective. You might not realize, but feeling like an outsider or weird is you adapting to the new version of yourself that doesn't want to be seen. Oh, I love that. I love that. Every spiritual lesson brings me back to presence. All we have to do. Oh, really? There's ads on here? I did not know there were ads on here. What the hell? It asks me about ads, But I thought it was for like the replay. I didn't know they put ads on the live. I'm sorry, y'all. I will not do that again. I don't even know how to do that. Oh, I could turn it off. I did not know they put ads on here. Okay, I just turned them off. I guess I've never been in a live long enough. I've never seen that. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. I just turned them off. I just turned them off. Every spiritual lesson brings me back to presence. Oh yeah, I read that. All we have to do is be present with the pain, and life will heal us gradually. Exactly, exactly. And that's a beautiful thing. And that goes into this, like being seen, getting comfortable with being seen, and then just like having the coding. So that's the first phase. The first phase is, and that's how the course is set up. It's like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? I literally have a practice in there to get you to like go into your worst fear when it comes to being seen. And me and my client did just the other day too. She like recorded something that she was so proud of. She's a singer. She's an artist. And after she recorded it, she looked at it and she's like, I hate it. Like, and the only reason why she hated it is because she was thinking about all the like judgment of what other people might be thinking. She was projecting. Oh, this is what this person is thinking. This is like she's projecting, right? So she's like, I don't want to post it. And I said, okay, first of all, you are projecting a future that may not come. That's number one. And like everyone is you pushed out. So you are writing the script. But beyond that, like because that's the second part, right? Beyond the fact that you are writing the script, let's teach your body how to sit with. Let's say somebody did. Let's say the video goes viral and somebody comments on there and they say, you look ridiculous or this is cringy. And let's say that video, that like gets, and she said that, she was like, what if the like gets like 18,000 likes and there's so many people who think I'm cringy? And I'm like, let's sit with that cringe, right? Really allow yourself to sit with you coming across a comment that says you are so cringy, or and it gets 18,000 likes, right? Can you sit with that and teach your body how to not go into its usual response of running, of fighting, of defending? Can you teach your body how to do that? And that just happens gradually. But when you start to teach your body how to deal with that discomfort, now all of a sudden you're not avoiding doing the thing that you really want to do. Because the reason why you're avoiding doing the thing that you really want to do is because of the effect of what you think it will mean, or the judgment, or whatever it is that you have, like you tell yourself, right? So when you teach your body that, like, oh, if I get 18,000 likes, people saying that I'm cringe, like, what would that feel like? Oh, she was like, it would feel so lonely. It would feel like rejection. It would feel like, she was like, she's like, I want to go into the fetal position and I want to rock and I want to cry. Then do that. Go into that and really fuel that with your imagination. Because then now you teaching your body how to do it. So now when it's time to do it in real time, your body already knows how to like handle the response. And the most important thing is you seeing that you did not die. There's this fear of feeling this discomfort because it's like this annihilation. Like, if I really allow myself to sit with this discomfort, like, what if I die? Teach yourself how to sit with the discomfort and see that you will not die. It's going to become much easier to go into the discomfort because you're teaching your body how to do it. Oh, crap. I'm going to be transparent. I'm facing eviction due to being laid off. And while all of this was happening, at first I was extremely in survival mode, but now I'm just becoming more unattached to it all. And my body has been in so much discomfort, and I've been smoking a lot of weed, but I know it's not in alignment with who I am because I actually have the capacity to hold the discomfort. Yes. I love that. I love that. Absolutely. And just try it, right? When the discomfort comes, of not right facing eviction, what does that mean? It means being out, um, this not enough, this scarcity, right? Which all fears come down to this fear of death. They all do. They all come down to this fear of death. So when you can just allow yourself to sit with that discomfort of what if I get evicted? What if and this becomes so much more difficult when you have kids. So I don't know if you have kids, but it's different. It's different with kids. But you know, what if this happens? Then what does that mean? And just like allow yourself to go to the worst case scenario and say, and like see that you are simply observing it. You are simply observing it. If you become homeless, like in this, and that's why I say, I am not for the faint of heart, because I'm gonna push you to the most extreme level of you become homeless. So what does that mean in the body? Who is it that becomes homeless? Are you that, or are you aware of who becomes homeless? And can you sit in that space of being the one who's aware of who becomes homeless? And the reason why it's difficult to sit in that space of like just simply being in the awareness is because the body is in so much discomfort that you go to what you are used to going to, which is probably like the weed, because the weed is going to like soften it. It's going to make it easier to sit with that discomfort of that fear of being homeless. Because what if I'm homeless, somebody attacks me and then I die? I'm telling you, all fears are going to go to death. Like even this, what if I'm homeless and then people know and I'm judged, and then I'm judged and I die? Or I'm judged and then I'm left, right? Because we're scared of being judged, because we are very much packed. We run in packs. We need each other to survive. So if I'm judged and I get annihilated, and I'm like pushed out of the pack, can I survive on my own? It's always going to go back to survival. But once you realize you were never born, so you can never die, who's trying to survive? A separate identity. You are not the separate identity. You are aware of the separate identity. That's freedom. But your body has to get comfortable with that. I'm not just expecting you to get it. If you do, that's cool. But for most people, it doesn't happen in that way. For most people, sitting in just being, like spending, like even meditating, like just sitting with yourself for 10-15 minutes, some people, they have a very visceral response to that. And they will panic. They will do everything they can to like do that. Like I seen something that said, people will expend more energy to avoid pain than to go after their pleasure. That is how much we resist pain. People will do everything in their power to avoid pain than to like go after pleasure. So it's not even about the pleasure, it's just about avoiding pain. Once you stop avoiding pain, then you can tap into this life force that wants to take care of you, that knows how to take care of you. It is already taking care of you. The separate identity just gets in the way, because it's like, I have to do this. I have to survive myself. When that's the trap. The I have to survive itself is what's literally keeping you from being in the flow of life, because of upbringing, which makes a lot of sense. Oh, opinions on exposure therapy. Yeah. I love exposure therapy. And because I'm such a freaky, sensational being, let me tell y'all, I love feeling it all. I love feeling it all. Right. When I was a kid, I used to turn on, I said this in a video, I would turn on the saddest music I could. I would think of the worst case scenarios, and I would literally be flopping over the floor. I would be like, I did this thing where I would, this is now that I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, yo, I was twisted, but I would like imagine scenarios of my mom, because I was really close to my papa. I was really close to my grandparents. So I would imagine scenarios where my mom would tell me that my grandparents died, and I would literally like fall on the floor, and I would be like, oh, like just practicing. Just and I would do this all the time. Just like and then I would play music, and like I would pretend I was at the funeral. And it really comes down to the fact that I'm just like I'm very sensational. So I love to feel all of my feelings. And back then I didn't understand it. And I thought like I'm like an emo kid, like very depressed. I was also like in that Tumblr era where if you looked at my page, like back then, like things that I was consuming, it was that very like dark, grudgy stuff, where it's just like very poetic and just like deep, and people smoking cigarettes, black and white pictures. I was so into that, because I felt like these pictures could convey what I could not convey. But it was like I was just such a deep filler, like very sensitive, and I love that though. I just didn't know how to do it consciously, but I am the everything. So even as a kid, I knew that it was not just about feeling pleasurable. I literally found joy and also feeling despair. I didn't have the language for that back then, but now that I know, there was this kinky pleasure in the feeling of despair, in this feeling of sadness, like, because feeling to me is aliveness. So anything that made me feel alive, I loved it. And I didn't really know how to access pleasure either back then. That was another thing too. I didn't really know how to access pleasure, but I knew how to access this sadness, this grief, this pain. So I would just like amplify it because feeling was I'm alive, and I wanted to feel alive. It was better than feeling numb. I didn't want to feel numb. I didn't want to feel like apathetic. I didn't want to feel, have this like nihilistic outlook on life. I wanted to feel alive. No, me too. No matter where I was on my journey, it was never about avoiding hard experiences. I want to feel all the pain and happiness of life. I just want to learn how to not abandon myself through it. Yes, yes, absolutely. I love that. I love that, and we know how to do it. My daughter knows how to do it. Kids, they know. We think about babies. My daughter will throw her whole body back, right? She throws her whole body back. She will hit. I mean, now of course, we teach we as the guidance for our children. We teach them better ways to deal with their pain. Not to say you shouldn't do that, but like, what's another way to do that? Like with my daughter, she hits me, and I don't say, you don't do that, or I do. Actually, you don't put your hands on me. I do. Don't hit me. I say you go mad. So I'm still like, you can express your anger. You just can't hit me. You can't express your anger by hitting me or by throwing stuff, right? You got to teach. We have to teach these like beings, these full consciousness beings, how to exist in separation, how to exist amongst other people, how to exist in community, how to exist in society. Right? We don't want to cause harm to other people, but you can still feel your emotions. You absolutely can still go mad, right? I tell her, you go mad, you stump your feet, you go like this, right? But now it looks like her making these faces. I'm like, stop making that face. But it's more so like playing. Like when she's mad, absolutely make a face. You're mad. Allow yourself to feel that emotion. Because I don't want her to go. When I was a kid, it's crazy. You know what? I do this. Ooh, I still do this to her. But when I was a kid, hold on, my mom just FaceTime me. My mom was like, fix your face. You need to smile. Stop looking like that. So I didn't think it was okay or it was acceptable for me to feel my emotions. And I also think that was another reason why I would like really get myself to feel this way, because in public I wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed to, show these sensations. I mean, I wasn't allowed to show these emotions. I had to like learn how to save face for society. So society is not comfortable with individuals being expressive in their emotions, right? We learn very early these societal cultural norms that you don't behave that way, which is why we judge parents when kids are acting a fool in like a store or something. They don't got no control over their kids. Their kids are just feeling emotions and they're expressing them and they're allowing their kids to express. But because as a society and as a culture, we shame people for like outwardly expressing that emotion in that way, then we got to learn how to do it like in secret, which is fine. I think eventually we will get to a point where society will become more open and welcoming to just like allowing the way sensation wants to be expressed to come through, and to learn how to like channel that emotion into art or into something else, and we not like suppressing the subconscious anymore. But I see this like this is my vision for the future, you know not going to a heaven where there is no pain and there is no suffering. People fantasize about this utopia. Not that it can't exist, right? This utopia where there's, but we can't even dream that if we don't learn how to deal with polarity. Like how can you dream of a heaven when you can't even go through hell? What you're doing is you're dreaming of in heaven to avoid the hell, which is just suppressing it, which means that the hell is still going to manifest in very unconscious ways, which looks like the world that we're living in now. So the way to dream up a collective heaven is learning how to exist in hell. And what that means from a mental standpoint is just learning how to exist in discomfort, learning how to not to shame ourselves, not to guilt ourselves when discomfort is arising, learning how to witness other people in their hell, and being able to open our heart. Ram Dass, he says, keeping your heart open in hell. Like, can we keep our heart open with the murderer? Can we keep our heart open with the person that harms kids? Ooh, I'm not here for the faint of heart. And I'll continue to say that I'm not here for the faint of heart. I'm here to help people learn how to become lucid in a dream. And the only way to become lucid in a dream is to recognize that it's all you. And the only hell is the hell that you are creating within. And if you don't know how to sit with that hell, you will continue to manifest it, and you will not. Any idea of heaven will just be the avoidance of hell. So, no. Learning how to keep your heart open to it all, from the understanding that it's all you, is how you really create heaven. Sorry, that reminds me of the show Sandman, when his sister Despair said, "My purpose is to make people feel so low that they float back up to the top and feel more alive." Ooh, I love that. I love that. Yes. Yes. People expressing themselves in a way that makes me uncomfortable is why I judge them. It's truth. Me too. Sometimes I'm like, I'll think to myself, like, why would they do that? Why would they act that way? I love, cop shows, and I'll see people in the comments. I love me a good cop show. And I'll see people in the comments and they'll say stuff like, I can't believe people are acting this way. I like, where's our society? And the main thing, some of those people, they do act like ridiculous, right? Like I said, we're still in community. There still are perceived, like there still are others, right? We are choosing to forget to experience ourselves in all of our different variations and flavors. So we still want to be respectful, right? From the understanding that it's all us. Just treat other people the way you want to be treated. Like, it just comes down to that. If we treat other people the way we want to be treated, we could create heaven on earth. But people are always in those comments on those cop videos, and and you could just tell that they don't know how to sit with their own discomfort, because they really hate to see these people acting in this way. I think it's just more entertainment. I really don't care. But it's just very entertaining to me. But I'm not sitting there like, this is why our society is the way it is. Like, these people are so messed up and they're ruining it for everybody. It's just like, this is the way that the human is expressing it. So, and I think it's pretty entertaining. I'm not sitting there saying this is why our society is so bad. Like, no, the reason why our society is where it is because you're looking at that and you are shaming it, instead of acknowledging that also exists within you. And just see it as entertainment, and move about your business. Don't sit here to look at it to make yourself. A lot of people say, I'm watching this to make myself feel better. Like, they'll say, I'm looking at this because when I stop watching this, I feel better about my life. And that's just really psychologically messed up, because they're unwilling to see themselves in that person. Or when I'm watching stuff and people like, these people need to die. These people need to get perished away. And it's like, that is why this stuff will continue, is because you refuse to see that this also exists within you. These people don't need to die. This is just the way energy is expressing itself. And we as a society can just come up with ways to, meet this behavior when it appears in a compassionate and like open-hearted way. But that's it. It's not about, but this is very radical. What I'm speaking about is a very radical point of view. And it's hard to come to this point of view without the understanding that you are the everything. Because as long as you still think that there is separation and there are separate others and there is separate like individual responsibility, I'm not for the faint of heart. I'm not for the faint of heart. I'll keep saying it. I'm not for the faint of heart. If you still think there's a personal responsibility, then you're always going to keep blaming and condemning and pointing fingers, not recognizing that it's just the way energy is flowing. And if you take the speck out of your own eye, you won't see the log in your brother's eye. It's all perfection. All of it is perfection. The way to see that is to know the truth of who you are by recognizing that you are simply the awareness in which this experience is coming and going in. And that is so beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's heartbreaking. And it's like, how could I create such evil? Like, what in the world? Because you are not one thing. And because religion has benefited off of getting people to attain to this ideal that they can never attain to. And then condemning something else, so that people can constantly see themselves as sinners and as bad people, and then keep paying into the religion to like fix them and heal me and make me right and keep me in connection with God. It's all a scheme, which is why they, most major commercial religions will keep the like occult stuff, the esoteric stuff, which is literally saying what I'm saying. It keeps that stuff hidden, Because if you knew the truth of who you are, you wouldn't be paying them so much. You wouldn't be paying them to tell you that God is separate from you and you got to be a good person in order to go to heaven, which is, but then you can't even achieve being a good person because you are a sinner. So the best you can do is try to be a good person so that when you die, you go to heaven. But that's also you playing that game with yourself. So it's not even like, oh, we gotta blame the religion, we gotta blame the elite. It's you playing this game with yourself because you have awakened so many times in your life that you want a challenge. Because when you awaken, right, it's like I don't know, like when I become lucid in like my dreams, it's the coolest thing ever. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm lucid. Like I remember it's so fun. But Alan Watts, he has this like in one of his lectures, he said, imagine you, right, as the I am. You formulate this dream and you know exactly what's going to happen and you get all of your desires. Everything is like coming to you, everything, right? And then you do that night after night after night after night. Within a few weeks, you get bored and you say, I want to make it interesting. I'm going to just forget a little bit. I'm just gonna forget a little bit that I am, in control of this, just to see. Like I want to feel my heartbeat. I want to feel my heart race. Right. I want to really like forget. And then you wake up and you guys go, whoo, like whoa, that was crazy. I really got sucked in. And then you keep doing that, and then you're like, I want to forget even more. Like I want to forget even more. So this is the game you've been playing with your divinity. You every single time you go through a quest and you remember who you are, you go, wow, that was fun. How much deeper can I get? like how much deeper can I take myself into this forgetting game? I want to make it so hard because that's the best games to play. It's not fun. You ever play with somebody y'all not on the same skill level? And you know you're gonna win. That's not fun. You want to play with somebody who's on a even skill level with you because it's something about knowing that you could lose that is exhilarating, right? Knowing that you were so close, right? If you made one bad move, you would have lost the game. That makes the win feel even that much better. So it's something about forgetting and going to these deep levels that make our remembering and that pleasure so much better. We are sensational beings. We love to feel. So when you could just accept that this is all happening for you, by you, through you, how much sweeter does the game get? How much juicier does the experience get? Ooh, I'm forgetting on purpose. I'm forgetting on purpose so that I can remember. And this game is so hard because my skill level is so high. I am I have played this game many, many times that my skill level became so high that it would place me in this realm where things seem so glim, so unbalanced, so that when I remember, it's going to be so pleasurable. Ooh, remembering is going to be pleasurable. And then the more you remember, it's like, ooh, this is nice. Isn't that so much better than going through this? Like, and it's a story too. This is also a story. It's all a story. It's all a story. The only thing that's real is the fact that you are aware. But if I'm gonna tell myself any story, I'm gonna tell myself this story. Yes, we are safe. We are all safe experiencing it all because we're not even like that's why, and that's what I was going into, right? Because it's a story. We are simply aware of the story anyway. At the end of the day, we are aware of it all, and awareness is not affected by any of it. Awareness is simply being. It is the sky. The experience are clouds. The experience is the weather. The weather changes. The sky, or even look at the space in the room that you're in right now. You are that space, confusing yourself for the objects in the room. So the objects in the room, you give it so much weight that you don't even pay attention to the space. But that space is the same space. The space does not bend and move. It seems that way when objects come in, but it's the same space. The space is not affected. We build homes, we build businesses, we build all these things. There's trees. It seems like the space is having to contort around these objects when no, the space is not affected. The space was there before you build that house. When you tear that house down, the space is going to be there. and it is not affected by anything that you put in it. It is just being. It is just there. The space and the space is needed so that you can see my hand. Without space, you would not be able to see my hand. And this is why when you try to have like an ego death and you go into getting out of the separate self, life starts to look really two-dimensional. That is not what you came here for. It looks flat. It just looks really flat because there's no distinction. There's nothing to separate it. Or it just looks like one thing. But then there's nobody to even know it. That is the truth of who we are. We came into separation on purpose so we could experience all the differentiations, the textures, the smells. We came here for it all, but then we forget, so then we suffer. It's just about remembering and playing with your heart, learning how to feel discomfort. And with that, it goes to being fully seen. I feel like I see some people talk about being fully seen, and it just doesn't. It doesn't. It's about saying affirmations, which I do, right? Oh, that was the point, and I'm gonna make this point, and then I'm gonna go. But the point that I wanted to make is like once you remember the truth of who you are, when it comes to like reprogramming the subconscious mind, putting in the correct coding, now you're not doing it to make something happen. You're just doing it to express this truth. That's coming from a much different energy. Then I'm doing this because I need to feel, or because I want this to happen. Rather, I'm doing this because this is who I am, and this is the way that life wants to express itself through me. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna program myself with the codes of financial abundance, with the codes of immense visibility, right? Millions of views. I'm gonna put myself the codes of meeting the people that I admire. I'm gonna put the codes of a love that tears that expands my heart in these amazing ways. I'm going to put in the codes of going on a world tour. Whatever your desire is, from the standpoint of knowing the truth of who you are, when you start to reprogram the subconscious mind and put in these codes, the codes are accepted much easier. And it's just an expression. So now it's much playful. You take on this very playful nature with reality. I've been having so much fun the last few weeks with my offers, with creating content, not taking this stuff too so serious, because I'm putting in these codes, and these codes are not to get these things so that people can tell me that I'm worthy, even though that still shows its head, but I just remain as I am. There's this feeling of, I don't want people to think that I'm cringy. Y'all, I'm about to post this trailer for the fully seen codes. When I tell y'all, creating it, I had so much fun. Is it the best production? Absolutely not. Is it the best production? Is it the best editing? No, I'm not a great editor, but I had so much fun. And I'm going to release it. And all I could think in my head was, oh my God, people are going to think that, girl. But I just remain as I am. I remain as I am. And then I allow myself to feel the discomfort of people going, girl, who do you think you are? Why would you post that? Why are you being like that? Nah. I allow myself to just feel that. And I go, okay, I know how to feel it now. Boom. I put it out into the world. I'm teaching myself a new way of responding to this trigger of not being enough, this trigger of being insecure, this trigger of not being accepted. Because usually when that trigger will show up, what it will look like is me playing it safe, posting what I know people will like, or not posting anything at all. Because then I just don't have to like deal with this emotion. But now that I know how to sit with, let's say I post this thing and nobody views it. Or let's say I post this thing and it gets so many views, and a lot of the comments are, why would you post this? Girl, you look silly as hell. You look crazy. Can I sit with that? And when I can sit with that, and when I can really sit with that discomfort, I teach my body how to sit with that discomfort. Now I'm going to do it anyway. Because now I'm teaching myself that when this trigger is present, I still take the action. And then if I do that enough, it becomes unconscious. So now I don't have to like go through this whole ritual. It's just like it becomes very unconscious that when this trigger is present, I still take the action. Whereas when the trigger was present, there was an action I was taking before. My body got really familiar with doing that. I'm just teaching myself a new way to respond. That's it. Just teaching ourselves a new way to respond to triggers. That is how we become fully seen. That is how we start to align with the reality that we want for ourselves. And none of your desires are wrong, as long as you know the truth of who you are. If you know the truth of who you are, I would say your desires are going to align with that truth. right? People say, oh, what if people want to desire to like harm people and blow up buildings and like just say all this stuff? And I said that's still coming from a being who doesn't know the truth of who they are. Because when you know the truth of who you are, you understand that what you do to one, you do to the self. So why would you want to do something to somebody? It's good. You're doing it to you when you really know the truth of who you are. Not this like just knowledge, but like I am the I am. And everything that I see is within me and it is me. So anything that I do to another, I do to myself. So your desires would not be to harm another when you know who you are. So from that standpoint, all of your desires are valid. If you have a desire to be worldly seen, like worldly known, right? Before people will say, oh, you want that desire because your needs weren't met in childhood and you want people to validate you. Screw them. If that's your desire and that's what you want, go for it. No, from the truth of who you are. Go after what makes your heart happy. If your desire is to live in a farm and take care of animals and shut the world out, go after it. Everything is possible for you now because you're not playing this game from a separate self. You're playing this game knowing who you are and holding the duality. You taught your body how to hold the duality. So now you can do the subconscious work. Now go into robotic affirmations. Whatever the technique that you believe in, go for it. Because you're not doing it to get, you're doing it from this very grounded way of being. And this is the tantric path. This is the path that I take, right? Infusing the non-dual perspective with like conscious creation, because it seems like these two cannot coexist, but they can when you go down the tantric path. And the tantric path is like knowing yourself through the world, not needing to leave the world to know yourself. So the more that I engage in the world and like really be with the duality and not look at the most evil things in the world as being separate from me, the more that I can become a magician and a lucid dreamer. And that's not easy, especially with a lot of things. It's hard to look at those things and go, I'm simply the observer, and that's just me presenting. Like that's really difficult. But can I teach my body to sit with that discomfort? And when I can, it's much easier to look at these things and go, but that's just me. It's just me. And it can't be any other way. So yeah, this is a lot of what gets touched on inside of the course. This was day one of tour one. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for being here with me. I feel like an artist, like, yeah. Yeah. This was so fun. Thank you. Thank you, YouTube. Woo! I said my marketing, my theme is like Buddhist monk meets rock star. Like that is my thing. And that's what I want people to feel when they are in my world. Like you have the inner stillness of a Buddhist monk, but you are showing up and showing out like you are a rock star. Because for so often it's like, oh, artists lose their minds, creatives lose their minds when the spotlight gets on them, and that's just because they don't know how to access that inner stillness. So that is the genius of what I do, is I help you access that inner stillness by remembering the truth of who you are. All right, guys. I love you guys. See you soon. Make sure you sign up for the wait list. I'll put that in the comments after this. But I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.